gotta pay to throw away. Burn, baby, burn.
Money, money, money.
Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. Welcome to Detroit!
We're here today on a march to the Detroit Incinerator, and we're calling for clean air, particularly for the communities that are close to the incinerator and are particularly affected by the particulate from the burning trash.
We live in 48217 Southwest Detroit. That is comprising 5 little communities that are set between and totally surrounded by industry.
We live like 3 blocks away and we can smell the garbage there.
And the incinerator has had devastating effects on a lot of people's health. A lot of my neighbor kids have asthma.
That funky, gross smell is the smell that communities around here have to constantly live with because of the trash incineration that's going on.
I am marching for climate justice to shut down the incinerator and hopefully build a recycling and responsible waste disposal unit for the city of Detroit.
This is a fight for the people of Detroit have been making for decades.
In 1989, there were probably 50 people arrested in front of this incinerator in a demonstration led by women empowered against violence to the environment, an eco-feminist organization who wove themselves to the incinerator.
So there's 2 schools in a less than a mile radius of the incinerator.
It makes no sense, not just for the school, but for the whole city.
Mayor Bing, in fact, wants to keep that incinerator open. They're in the process of renewing some of the contracts, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen.
It's owned by Covanta. The city eventually sold it and they started leasing it back.
They're going to actually present it as a clean energy because they're burning waste to create energy.
How many times have you heard the EPA or the state say it's just fine that the dioxins coming out of these incinerators are just a little bit? They don't even read their own studies.
Because it's owned by a private corporation, they need to burn as much trash as they can. To actually import trash from other communities around here to burn it, to keep it going.
They say it's not affecting us, but I know it is.
Poor people of color are always on the front lines of getting hit first and worst by our addiction to and dependence on fossil fuels.
Many years ago, the native people of this land lived along these streets, lived along this area, this territory that we now call Detroit.
Well, indigenous communities, indigenous peoples all around the world are constantly having their sovereignty trampled on.
When our people were here, we had clean air.
You know, these folks are some of the most marginalized people on the planet.
We had clean land.
They're folks who've actually learned to live in ecological balance with the world.
We had clean water.
Their communities contain the solutions that we need.
We want to ensure that it gets back to where it was.
I think all non-indigenous people around the world should be supporting the leadership of frontline Native communities.
The same zip code that we live in is the 5th most polluted zip code in the whole state of Michigan.
We have right in our backyard, 5-minute walk from my house, Marathon Oil Refinery,
the BP refinery,
which is in the process of expanding and building a huge tar sand refinery to refine the product that is coming out of Alberta, Canada.
You know, this dirty Giga project is the largest, most destructive project on planet Earth. They're strip mining an area of land the size of Florida. It's spreading its tentacles all over the planet, really, but certainly the United States.
The reason that this refinery is built there is the Canadian government will not allow the refining there because the companies that mine this product have basically exceeded what's allowable for environmental guidelines in Canada.
I live in what's known as the coal fields of southern West Virginia. And I have come here today to make sure that Detroit understands that the people of West Virginia, the people of Appalachia stand in solidarity, because one thing we know is the contaminated air in Detroit doesn't know boundaries. It will cross the state line. It will cross into Appalachia. It will leave the urban areas, and it will find all of us. Just like the contaminated water and the toxic sludge that comes from mountaintop removal and coal mining in the state of West
Until recently, we did not even know that this refinery expansion had been approved by our city government and the state. It was kind of snuck in under our noses. We found out about it after the fact.
We see all of these crises in various sectors, and it's all about the kind of what I see as an implosion of capitalism.
The city government, state government seems to think it's okay because we need jobs.
It's connected to what we're doing here because trash incineration comes from the same model, right?
If the city wants to stop burning it, they actually have to pay damages. They have to pay damages to the corporation.
It comes from the idea that there's disposable waste, disposable communities, and disposable people.
So we need to make sure that we keep each other safe as this beast sort of begins to unwind, you know?
Part of the solution, the long-term solution, is about reconnecting people with the earth and our ability to heal through interacting with the earth, and also our ability to cultivate some of our own needs, including, harvesting water, growing food and plants.
We're all neighbors in this thing that's gathered, is represented in this group. This small world, we all want to breathe and enjoy this air.
This was an act of resilience as a form of resistance. And we had families and children participate in beautifying the school and also learning some concrete skills about how you plant things as a way to also project the kind of future that they want.
We want to let people know the gravity and the importance of the problems that we live with, and try to get people to realize that if they sit on their duffs and do nothing, nothing's going to get better.
They want clean air, they want healthy food, they want beautiful surrounding, and they want to contrast the ugly, reality and harmful reality that they're faced with day to day.
Detroit's been through some really tough times. It's been hit hard, and it still is really affected by a lot of injustices, but the community has the solutions.
Cool.